Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin ETF that is going to go live soon in the US. This is a very big deal because we've been wanting something like this for quite some time to get in the average retail investor. Here in Canada, we've had multiple ETFs for Ethereum and Bitcoin, but we're finally going to see an ETF in the United States. Now, this isn't 100% guaranteed, but unless the SEC, says something tomorrow morning against this, it's going to start trading tomorrow. So it's almost guaranteed at this point. And we're going to go through and talk about it. And also why I don't really think it's a good idea to be investing in it. It's not just a straight Bitcoin ETF. It is a futures ETF. So some caveats there. We're going to dive into all of that good stuff in just a moment after a quick word from my sponsor. A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android. Thanks again to my sponsor. So let's jump in. I just pulled up a few articles here talking about exactly what's going to be happening, or just speculating on it rather, but essentially a Bitcoin futures ETF is coming in the next few days, or rather it should start trading tomorrow. So we'll see how this plays out. I think this is going to be very good for the space because it'll get all the hype. We'll get a bunch of new retail investors in. We'll have a flood of new money coming in. And this could be the catalyst that puts us over the all-time high, which then signals a trading frenzy where everyone starts buying up Bitcoin. And we finally get that massive run-up that we've been expecting this year. So I am very, very hopeful, and I'm going to be very closely watching Bitcoin over the next little while. None of this is financial advice, of course, never is. It's financial entertainment, if you will. But yeah, definitely, come to your own conclusions, do your own research, but it's inevitable that new money is coming into Bitcoin, and it's probably going to be a great deal of new money. What isn't 100% known is whether or not people are going to treat this as a sell event or a buy event. Like, are people going to look at this and think, oh, this might be a good time for me to sell and get some profits? Or are people going to look at this like, all right, Bitcoin's skyrocketing, it's time to buy, let's keep this going? Because again, I believe if we pass the all-time high, people are just going to start going crazy. It's going to be all over the news. And this could be the run-up that we've been waiting for. In the last cycle, about 4 years ago, the run-up only was it was a 7-day period where Bitcoin went from, I believe, something like 3,000 to 19,000. And if we see something crazy like that again, it's going to be very significant to be aware of this and to just be kind of tracking along with Bitcoin, as well as having an exit plan. I'm going to make a video soon talking about why it's important to have an exact exit plan, because you don't want to focus on the emotions or get caught up in the emotions. Rather, when you see the price skyrocketing, it's euphoric, it's amazing. You go to sleep, you wake up the next day, and it's down 30%. And now you're wondering, damn, did I miss it? Do I still sell? Do I wait? You don't want to end up in that situation and not knowing what you should do. Instead, you want to have an exact plan that you write out and follow, and don't base it off of emotion. It's got to be based off exact numbers and logic, because it's going to be very challenging to time the peak and then buy the dip afterwards, but it could be the difference of $50,000 to $100,000 potentially based on how much you're invested. It could be a very, very big deal. It could be a matter of hours. It could be a matter of days. Regardless, as I said, the last time it was only 7 days where we saw that big run up. So it could be a very, very short period of time that you have to really be watching for what Bitcoin is doing, and obviously other coins that you're holding for this run up, and just being very, very vigilant and strict with your guidelines that you've written out for yourself. I still don't think it makes sense to actually be investing in this ETF yourself, just because A, I think you're always better off directly investing in the Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency that you're investing in. You're better off directly investing in it. With an ETF, you can get some benefits. Like in Canada, we have a tax-free savings account that allows us to invest in something like a Bitcoin ETF, and then we don't have to pay capital gains. That makes a lot of sense. But in the States, I don't believe there's an equivalent to that where you're going to get that benefit from buying it in the form of an ETF. And thus, you're just better off buying the direct crypto from an exchange or wherever, and then withdrawing it to a wallet that you actually control yourself if you want the full benefits, decentralization, all that good stuff from your crypto. And not only is the ETF not the best way to go about it in that scenario, a futures ETF is significantly more risky, in my opinion, and you're not actually even directly investing in Bitcoin. You're investing in the idea that it's going to go up in value. And with the potential, like with this event potentially being the catalyst for a run-up and then a crash, if you're not timing things right, you'll probably lose more money on a futures contract, especially with the crash, than you will just holding Bitcoin, yourself, like directly holding it in a wallet that you own. So I think this is very important to consider, and it is coming out very, very soon. And people are all making their predictions of what might happen and all this good stuff. But the SEC themselves put out a thing that warns you of the potential risks and the benefits. And this is kind of like a go-ahead sign that a lot of people are interpreting it as a go-ahead sign that they're not going to stop it. And subsequently, tomorrow, we will see the trading of this. And this is going to massively impact Bitcoin. Again, if it's a sell event, it could be bad, but I believe this is going to be a catalyst for the run-up. I rarely ever, bring up articles or talk about price movements and all this kind of stuff. But this ETF is just so significant. And this is probably a good headline too, saying you're probably better off just buying Bitcoin rather than a Bitcoin futures ETF. And I agree. But enough people are going to be enticed by all the hype, and it's the first ETF in the States. There are trusts, but trusts are not nearly as trusted. And people tend to go for ETFs for these kinds of things. So I think we'll see such a phenomenal amount of money pouring into Bitcoin through this ETF that it is going to massively push up the price. And I think we're going to see some pretty amazing stuff. It'll be trading under the ticker BITO. It is the ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. And not a whole lot for me to say for this video, aside from the fact that I think we're going to see some very, very big movements very soon. Again, I don't usually make videos like this because I'm more focused on timeless kind of content, teaching people about how to use things or platforms or whatever it happens to be. And this will only really be relevant to this situation. So I don't, expect people going back and watching this just for the sake of it. But again, the point is that this is going to be very, very impactful to the price. It's happening in the next 24 hours, and I'm ready to sell a huge portion of my portfolio. I'm very closely watching, and I'm going to be selling the majority of my Ethereum and Bitcoin once I believe we are near the peak. I probably won't do a video exactly when that happens because I'll be more focused on making sure I get my money out. But afterwards, I definitely will post about it and let you guys know how this is played out. But I'm currently over $300,000 net worth. If we see anything like we saw previously, it could 2-3x, who knows. But I've got my fingers crossed. I'm watching very closely. I've got my exit plan. Got everything kind of set up for this big event, and it's just really important that you guys have this like on your watch list, and you've got all your things, all your ducks lined up, everything set up, and that you're going to be able to, pull the trigger and make that decision to sell or what you're going to do at the right time based on your exit strategy and everything you've laid out. This was a pretty short video, but again, this is more of just a kind of a brief little overview talking about why I think Bitcoin future ETFs aren't really that great. Like it's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is getting an ETF at all related to Bitcoin approved in the US, because this could also set a precedent for future ETFs to have a much easier time getting approved. With that, again, I don't recommend investing in it. I would just be buying the Bitcoin directly, which is what one of these articles said, and I agree. But if you're only going to invest through stocks, this is a way to do it. You might be better off investing in a direct ETF, like some of the ones we have here in Canada that are just directly invested in either Ethereum or Bitcoin versus a futures ETF. But either way, you're always better off owning the crypto directly. A lot of people don't know that, but it definitely makes a big difference in terms of true ownership and, potentially doing some stuff anonymously or finessing your taxes. It's only possible through that. Not that I recommend it, but yeah, I am very, very excited. The prediction was that this would happen around October. The stock to flow model looks really, really good. Everything is lining up for a crazy, crazy run up. I believe that we will see this before December. I think this is still going to happen in 2021. Obviously, none of this is financial advice and none of this is like guaranteed. This is just what I'm out on the lookout for. Now, what is going to happen very soon after the big run up will be a big crash. So naturally, if you really want to take advantage of your crypto, what I'm going to try to do is attempt to sell the peak, sell the top, and then buy the dip, and essentially double, triple, quadruple my money in doing so. And that's going to be very, very significant, but it's going to be very challenging, and I'm going to have to watch very closely and stick to my plan and stick to logic and not be affected by the emotions surrounding this. It's going to be a very, very hectic time over the next little while. Yeah, I think you guys you need to hear this, because if you're not aware of what's going on, you're going to be very taken back by what we're going to see over the next little while. In my mind, it's going to be very positive and very good. So, I have very high hopes going forward, but anything can happen. It could be taken as like a sell event. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I truly believe once we pass the all-time high, we're going to see a massive rally, and it's going to be very, very, very hectic. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you think that a futures ETF is really what we needed? Did we need not a real, but a normal ETF that is just directly invested in Bitcoin? What do you think is going to happen with the ARK ETF that they want to launch? Do you think we'll see an Ethereum ETF anytime in the near future? Let me know all of your thoughts on that. And if you think investing in an ETF even makes sense at all, or if you just think investing directly in crypto is the better way to do it. And always remember to keep your crypto on a wallet that you control. Do not just leave it on an exchange. Anyways, let me know all that good stuff in the comments below. And also comment #1ham if you did watch to the very end of this video, because that way I know you did, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.